Let's start with a song, actually. How about a proper Rekieta intro song? I'll play it out, and then I'll get to the beef of the situation.
This message from a Norwegian prude. I was sent to take out a particular dude. Nick's been framed. It was all a dirty gay up. We had it all planted by a dirty gay cop. Mr. Rekieta has got to go, so a little plan was hatched by the local 5-0. No one in this town is even gonna know that we planted the guns and the mountain of blow. We're gonna lie under oath. Nothing you can do, so screw you both. Probable cause, who gives a fuck? We're taking down a whore and a big-nosed cuck. We have reason to believe that you're abhorrent, so shut up, cuck. The judge signed the warrant. Mr. Rekieta had his rights violated, while Kayla was getting her ass dilated. We're gonna breach right through your door, then tip out your clothes and dirty the floor. Come out, hands up, we won't ask anymore. Dispatch, we have 4 kids, a hot wife and a whore. We're gonna lie under oath. Nothing you can do, so screw you both. Probable cause, who gives a f***? We're taking down a whore and a big-nosed cuck. All these kids, they look too well. Make them look like they've gone through hell. Take that kid's nice clean shirt, rub them down with some shit and dirt. Make it look like the parents don't care, so plant some coke in that kid's clean hair. Stack up the charges, make them look like zeros. Plant all the empty cans of SpaghettiOs. Make sure to get his firearms. Don't even worry about Baldy Boy Barnes. Plant an AR, stash it under the bed. Just another day of being a fed.
As announced, Jim woke up this morning. Garbage cans knocked over. Something had eaten out of them, and there were hoof prints in the yard. Could it be? Could it be? Could the legends be true? Could Ralph be in Minneapolis, chat? So, I think, is this... Okay, here we go. Actually, this is where I want. Sorry, you have to listen at Ralph time. It's the dead air that you get to enjoy on the kill stream.
And then I'll also film and dox all these Kiwi Farms freaks as they come out of the courthouse.
So, Ralph promises to dox the Kiwi and intervene on behalf of Lord Nicholas Rekieta. He will defend the Baldo's honor. He will be there in the parking lot filming people. He will attend the Omnibus himself. The stakes are high, but if only he could attend. But alas, he teases, I'm thinking of flying into Minnesota and going to the Omnibus hearing for Rekieta Law, since KiwiFarms.net is sending his goons there. Oh, I didn't do it in the Ralph voice. Silly me. I'm thinking of flying to Minnesota and going to the Omnibus hearing for Rekieta Law, since Kiwi Farms is sending his goons there. Are people interested in that? Then he also replies to himself and says, I would also be able to film all the Kiwi Farms filth as they enter or leave the courtroom. Lamau, the gauntlet thrown. And in fact, a man did finance his flight to Minnesota. Someone just sent me $500 to make sure I'm at the Rekieta hearing. And then we have a note here from, and it says, I do what I say I do, like supporting you, my king. Maybe you should go to Minnesota to cover Nick's hearing. If anyone can handle something like that, it's you. Not that. If not that, then do good coverage and tell Noel to f*** himself. Signed. Sent him $500 to go to Minnesota to dox those Kiwi pigs. And Ralph proudly posted this fact on his public Twitter account to epically own everybody. And indeed, I am epically owned. So it was on. People suspected that Ethan Ralph would be too fat and retarded to actually fly out of Mexico, considering that the last time he tried to fly out to Mexico, it was a horrific ordeal for him, and he lost his passport, as he would later reveal. But progress pictures did begin to take form. He posted pictures of himself eating, as he does as a little truffle pig, hunting through the airports of Ciudad Mexico, eating whatever the fuck this is, and flicking off his own cell phone for whatever reason. He says, "Oh, it's real. I'm coming to Minnesota. I wonder of the Spurgs who have gotten so much joy out of trying Rekieta's life can even be bothered to find out where I am." And then people just immediately searched the sign in the back and found out that he was in the neighboring airport. He did not want to go to the Mexico City's main airport, Benito Juarez, because it was the hub for Aero Mexico or whatever. So he went to the smaller airport, and I think he flew out to Tijuana after that. So he, for whatever reason, he challenged people to find out what airport he was in, and it was easily done because there's a message that says right there where he's at. He then began to live post videos of him yelling at me for some reason. So I would wake up and see that he had posted like another 4 videos. This is an example of this.
Josh Moon, you're a pussy.
This dude, I don't think anyone talks about me as much as he does. It's just so weird.
You're not going to show up in Minnesota.
Because it's a long-ass way to go to a procedural hearing, bro.
Guess who is going to show up in Minnesota? Me. You, on the other hand, have hired an 82-year-old lawyer who is way past his prime.
Okay, so to clarify, Ethan Ralph is so fucking stupid that he searched Matthew Hardin and found like a Harry Hardin in Texas who's 82. There are more than one Hardins in the universe, and he is fail doxed again. He just obsessively fail doxes people.
And basically, Biden level, intellect. He's 82 years old, actually. I looked him up. I know who he is. Rusty Hardin.
How does this stupid fuck feed himself? Legit, how does he manage to feed himself? I mean, he's losing a lot of weight. Maybe he can't. Maybe the fucking holes in his brain are so bad he's just not eating anymore. But for real, how's the stupid lift a spoon to his face?
Because, well, I know who everybody is.
It's so funny because he's so wrong.
I don't expect to see you at the hearing, but I will be at the hearing. And I will be outside the courthouse doing a live stream before the hearing. And then I'll turn in my phone like everybody else will have to before they go in. And then I'm going to come back out and document all these freaks that you've sent to try to ruin Nick Rekieta, the one guy who tried to save your fucking career, who tried to save your site. And you have a grudge to break up his family, ruin his life. You are truly the biggest scumbag on the internet, honestly.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If Rekieta, at any point, if I talk to anybody for any reason on the internet, if they then become a degenerate piece of shit, alcoholic, drug addict, who demolishes their own career, is then found in possession of a felony level of cocaine, and is found in neglect of their own children, and their own children test positive for cocaine, I am not allowed to say anything about it, because 2+ years ago, we had a good repertoire on his stream. Is that what I'm getting from this? And it's just, I just can't, like Ralph and Dick and Rekieta, they all have like this mental illness where they have a complete and total inability to accept any accountability for their own actions. It's always my fault. Literally, and I can't even say it's somebody else's fault. It's my fault. Me specifically. I'm the one ruining his life. I'm the one doing bad things because people are going to a public hearing, which he's also doing. Like, what is the fucking conflict? You're also going to this hearing. So why is it that other people going to this hearing, which would happen regardless of my involvement, because he's a public figure, why is that me trying to ruin his life? And how do you even have, like, I just don't, this is like the whole brain issue with him. You, Ralph, published all the shit, everything that anybody knows about Ethan Ralph's children, because they're children and they cannot use a phone. 100% of everything known about the children, he posted to the internet. And it's our fault. Again, it's our fault for knowing shit that he posts on the fucking internet. Children, teenagers learn accountability for this kind of stuff in regards to the internet. But not Ralph, not Rekieta, not Dick, not Vito the Pito. For whatever reason, it's my fucking fault that they say what they say and they post what they post. I just don't get it. So that's him in Tijuana. And I thought I had something else too. Let me check real quick. He did arrive. I'm going to skip through. I'm going to try to find it. I'm pretty sure he arrived in Minneapolis by now. He said in one of his... I can't... Really, bro? Okay, give me 1 second. Let me find the post where he's in Minneapolis. Spoiler alert. That's what Jim was hinting at. He had heard. The Battle of Jim's Driveway is very real. It's coming. Because if he go... What's going to happen is that Ralph is now like stuck in Minnesota, the most boring fucking state in the entire country. And he's going to be like, well, what do? I have to pretend that this is a cool thing. So he's going to go to Minneapolis. He's going to go to like a gastropub. He's going to eat like a burger and be like, imagine eating this good. And then he'll go to... should I do it? If I say the words, I bet you that bish, fat, puss and motherfucker won't go to Jim's driveway. You know he's going. You know if I say those words, he's going. And I have to be careful about what I say about Medicare. If he does show up and like somehow kills Jim through like germification of his surrounding area, I will never live that down. I will always be the man who murdered Jim. Even if it's Ralph that went to the house and got him sick, I would be held personally accountable for that. He won't go to Jim's driveway. Look, if I know anything about Ethan Oliver Ralph, it's that he is a spineless bish cuckold pussy that lost both of his children because he just ain't man enough to fill a grown man's shoes. He ain't man enough to do what needs to be done. That bish motherfucker, Ethan Ralph, would never, and I mean never, in a million years, the earth could spin round and round millions of times, and Ethan Ralph would never in that length of time find what it takes to summon the courage to show up on Jim Medica's driveway and topple over that fucking inflatable skeleton thing he's got in his front yard. Never in a million years would Ethan Ralph have the temerity, the character to do such a thing, chat. Okay, I think that this is the latest video.
Woo, I'm looking too dapper today. I mean, my goodness. Wow, look at that. The curl, man, I can never kill.
You look like a pig. You are literally you look like a 65-year-old pig. Pink, slit eyes, old. This man right here, if I've ever seen a man too old to go to Jim Medica's driveway, it would be this little piglet son of a bitch right in front of me.
That Ralph curl, no matter, they won't be leaving his house for the next 2 or 3 days, and that's fake cancer, man. He's cowered down in his anime dungeon. Even though mere miles separate us, he's cowered down like the bitch that he is. I'm hoping he's...
wait, he's asking a cripple to leave his house to come confront him? Motherfucker, we can turn that around right on you. You're the one you could walk. If you're in Minneapolis, you could probably take a bus to get to him in 5 minutes. Why does he gotta roll his ass out of the house to meet you? He doesn't want to meet you, motherfucker, dumbass. What the fuck?
He's really in pain. I doubt it though. Seems like kayfabe cancer, man. That might be the one I finally hit on. Actually, was kayfabe cancer, man. But regardless, I'm gonna see you at the Rekieta hearing tomorrow, bright and early. You better be bright and early to beat the Ralph about, because I plan on being there before anybody.
Why does he look like that? Look at his eyes.
I plan on being there before anybody.
He looks so uncertain of himself, so scared and primitive. Like he lacks confidence in what he says. I don't think this old drunk can do it. I think this old fat man can't even walk the distance to Jim's driveway to topple over the skeleton inflation thingy that he has set up. Just don't think so. Don't think you can do it. Piggly, how's that thing go? This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy. Oh God, how's it go? This little piggy didn't go to Jim's driveway. This little piggy went wee 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 all the way back to Merida. All right. The hearing is going to be long. This is the thing. It's not an exciting hearing. The omnibusin hearing is a litigation technical thing. So it depends on the venue, but Minnesota's is actually pretty comprehensive. It's basically a all-in-one big deal. That's why it's called an omnibusin hearing. So we omnibusin at the omnibus, and the omnibus is basically if you want to raise almost any pre-trial motion to dismiss evidence, to petition, basically anything before the actual trial is set. You have to do it before the omnibusin, and then during the omnibusin, then it's actually decided upon, and the context of the trial, or if you're going to accept a plea deal, is set in stone. So it's a big deal. A lot's going to happen. Basically, everything before the actual trial is set, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But it's going to be quite long, and even though a lot's happening, it's boring. It's a very technical thing. So if you're going there expecting like a Broadway musical or something, you're out of luck. I made a post explaining to people what I expect of them. And I've basically explained that, Ralph is going there and he's threatened to show up with a knife. Someone said that they were going to go to the courthouse and give Ralph a wedgie. And this pissed Ralph off so much because he's so insecure that he stated bluntly that he would have a knife on him in the parking lot. So he's threatening to come to the courthouse with a knife. So I've told people, look, I want to explain this to you guys as if you're children. And I know that I don't think anybody intended to do otherwise, but avoid confrontation. Don't talk to Ralph. Don't talk to Rekieta. You're not the main character here today. If you want attention, take notes, because that's what people want to see. Don't expect a Broadway musical. It's not going to be a movie. It's not an action flick. You're going to be sitting on a bench, listening to a bunch of lawyers talk to each other about pretrial motions. You have to have patience. You have to have attention, because you're going to be watching people and you're going to be taking notes about stuff that isn't going to show up in the transcript. And while they're there, one of them is going to request the expedited transcript. I think they've already put in for the expedited transcript, so we may be able to get a copy of the transcript the same day, or usually it can take months, so we're going to request that they hurry it for us. But that will include all the minutes, the actual conversations that take place in the court. Then we can look over that. But the people there are mostly there to witness things that won't be in the transcript. And so, 12 people are showing up. And I also said, you got to be gray men. You can't show up with, don't look weird, groom, bathe, dress reasonably. You should be indistinguishable from the congregation members from Rekieta's church. His extended family, people in his family are going to show up. So you should not look out of place in that group of people. And hopefully that's obvious, but, here's the real thing is that there's a very real situation if you're going to attend this hearing that you're going to get through, you're going to check in your phone, you're going to go up there, you're going to have a pen and paper, and you're going to have several hours of lawyers talking to each other. And you might end up on a bench next to Ethan Ralph, who got stank ass, who wears cheap ass cologne, eau de gunt. He probably wears too much cheap ass cologne too. And he doesn't wear underwear. So you might be sitting next to Ralph, and Ralph is of course going to be bored. He's going to be sharting his pants. He might doze off on you. He might fall asleep on your shoulder and start snoring because he's an alcoholic pill popper with holes in his brain. So you got to be ready for an uncomfortable couple hours on the bench. Okay. So I tried to set expectations really low. A lot of people want to do this, and it's okay, great, but don't f this up for me. Because remember, I'm trying to get things done. Will Ralph be sober? Bro, the funny thing, and here's the other thing, by the way, is that since we're on the Ralph thing and we're not talking about about Rekieta yet. I mean, Ralph is going to be bored. Like, he's going to get like his hour hollering on the in the parking lot and stuff. He's going to be like harassing random people because he probably doesn't know who's like a parishioner and who's like Rekieta's family. So he's just going to be harassing people, and he's not going to accomplish anything. Like, he's too much of a bish to show up on Jim's driveway. He's not going to, like, confront any of the officers and be like, I know that you violated Kayla's Sixth Amendment. You're not going to, like, he's not going to confront them and say, like, I know that, you know, you put the in. Like, he's not going to have the audacity. He's just going to harass, like, people that he thinks might be forum members, but he's not going to actually, like, confront any of the sheriffs or county witnesses or anything. Because he's too fat and retarded shit. And he's never going to show up at Jim's driveway either. Okay, now we're in the Baldo proper. We've prepped. Everybody's prepped regarding the Ralph situation. Now let's see how Deb Baldo is actually holding up. All right, this will be the only clip from the Baldo and Juju had a little cope and sneed session, and Dax Herrera could not possibly give less of a fuck. I've never seen someone so disinterested in conversation, and he's so hard to listen to that I just kind of didn't listen. But this one clip is funny, so I'll play this.
Frederick Little says, hope Drex can come back soon on a show. Well, Drex has to stop being if he wants to come back on a show.
Oh, really?
He, like, decided somewhere that I lied to him about something that is nebulous and will not talk to me, apparently. And it's like, dude... So I don't even know what he thinks I lied to him about. Not sure, but it's like, okay, well, all right.
Now he's just like in his like emotions. It's too much.
Guess.
Though.
I don't know.
It's too much. Like you're really kind of put on the spot being your friend during all this. It's too much. Maybe afterwards he'll come around.
We'll see. I don't know. It's like, I wish he'd just like, if he just talked to me, I could probably clear up whatever he thinks is like, I get it. I get it. If he thinks that that I like said something that was not true to him, that didn't happen. But
okay, so just a little background on Drexel. Drexel is a would-be confidence man. He is someone who considers himself a red pillar. He considers himself a ladies' man. He tells stories about how a girl he met when she was 13, and he waited and took to Disney World and bought Mickey Mouse ears and waited for her to be grown so that he could introduce her to a hardcore sim lifestyle. He tells stories like that, and he's a childhood friend of Rekieta. I think they've known each other for forever. And at some point, probably in regards to either being in an open marriage or him doing or him keeping, like, Drex probably confronted him. And then the charges drop, the evidence drops, and it's obvious that he's been behaving recklessly. And I'm sure that's probably something along the lines. And then Drex probably just cut him off and said, look, you lied to me. You disrespected me. We're childhood friends, and you lied to my face. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And he cut him off. And it's like, now Rekieta feigns ignorance. I have no idea what nebulous concept regarding... And this is like narcissistic manipulation bullshit. Because when you cut off a narc like this, and you just tell him, go fuck yourself, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Well, he has to like try and trick you into talking to him. And I'll actually just show you. I didn't intend to show this, but I'll show you this on screen. And when I posted this on the Kiwi Farms, I immediately got another shower text. And immediately, and this is what happened. This is the gist of it. He messages me immediately, shows me a screenshot of my post, and then says, "Oh, someone has literally no idea what stage of the case he's at and literally doesn't understand the case or the legal reasoning. Also, you didn't block me. Oh no, Kiwi bros." So during the last conversation, I said, I might block him. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And then he comes out and says, oh, you didn't block me. I said, as I've stated, I have nothing to gain from talking to you, and you are actively hostile towards me. I will no longer respond to you, and I will not post messages on your behalf. If you want to write me so I can read your messages and champion that as a big win, go for it. So if he feels vindicated just having little read marks next to my messages or his messages, go for it. I'm not going to stop him, but I'm not going to engage with him. He posts half of the conversation. There's another message after this that I wrote him, And I'll tell you what it is. I just said peace with the little peace sign to be snarky. And then he wrote me like 3 or 4 other messages. And this is a great example of what I mean, because he posts this. And the reason why he posts that is because he wants me to follow that up and post the other half of him chimping out at me. Or he wants me to correct this like I did when I said, like, as I said last stream, I was thinking of blocking him. But it's like when you cut off the narc, he wants to lie and force you to address it so that contact is made again. And he's doing the same thing with Drexel. Like, Drexel cut him off. He says, well, actually, I didn't lie at all. And if I did lie, he does not even man enough to tell me what I'm lying to him about. And he's trying to get Drexel to message him back like, you know what you fucking lied about. I remember I asked you straight to your fucking face. I said this, and you said that to me, and then this happened. Fucking lie. Because that gets the contact going again. So he's just going to be like a little passive-aggressive dickhole to try and get contact going. Because that's his personality type, because he's this Drexel dropping him is like a really big deal, and I didn't expect that, because again they're like ride or die. They've been together for a long time as friends, maybe even more than friends. Last stream, I made a prediction and I'm wrong. So I'm wrong at the very last second. I believed that Kayla Rekieta was going to take a plea deal and then confess to the possession. And then after that, both Nick Rekieta and April would then point to her confession and say, there's your culprit. She confessed. It was and we didn't do anything. And that kind of position is really hard for the state to argue against, because they do have a conviction. And they might be able to walk. They might be able to drop the charges. And if they went to trial and lost, and they very well could have because of Kayla's confession, because she would then take the stand on Nick's defense and say, yeah, it was my Nick only drank. He didn't even know I was doing. He's an innocent good boy. He didn't do nothing. Then, if the jury was sworn in and then the charges were dropped, or he was in any way let go, or if he was acquitted because of Kayla's confession and testimony in his defense, he would be protected from double jeopardy. So he would then walk from the courthouse and then go, I told you, Kiwi figs. Wait, it's the Ralph voice. I told you. You just had to listen to me. I told you the entire time. And then he could even say, like, look, we lied. Kayla lied to protect her family. She took the probation to protect me. Look, because in her position, because she took the guilty plea, she couldn't then say that she lied, because then they could revoke her plea and charge her. Nick could, though, because he had double jeopardy protections. He could then say, she lied. It was Aaron's coke the entire time. The warrant was, but we pulled off this stunt to just get the government off our dicks. But we knew we worked with the government to resolve this, and it's resolved. It was Aaron's coke. We didn't do any coke. The children weren't endangered. Yada yada yada. And he could just say, like, look, I outplayed everybody. I'm the best lawyer in the world. 2 years probation for Kayla, and everything's as good as gold. That did not come to fruition, and it didn't come to fruition literally the deadline for former filings, because, as I mentioned, the really suspicious thing that got me thinking that's what they were going to do is that Kayla hadn't entered any appearance. She hadn't entered any appearance at all in the case. So, as I mentioned, the omnibussing is a big deal. You got to be bussing before the omnibussing, or you're fucked. You haven't entered in anything. You're going to trial, and you didn't, you didn't try to do anything to set up the trial in your favor. It's a big deal not to have an attorney before the omnibus hearing. So I just assumed that she would represent pro se, take the deal, take the fall, testify in Nick's defense and April's defense, and then they would all walk skipping off into the sunset, decrying how they triumphed over the corrupt government, trying to f over. But then, Kayla got an attorney. And immediately, and by the way, this is not just an attorney. Kluver Maggie Kluver is the prosecuting attorney who still runs a private practice in the adjacent county called Big Stone County, which is a very confusing name because Big Stone Gap is a district in Virginia where Melinda Leigh Scott was suing me. In Big Stone County, Minnesota, Maggie Kluver is the prosecuting attorney who runs a private practice, and she's like a girl boss, like attorney, runs her own business type thing. Like, she's a pretty impressive person, and she's representing Kayla, which it's not like a public defender. This is like a real attorney, and it was entered the last second, and she asked for a continuance. And so now we have a situation where when the continuance was asked for, we thought, oh, fuck, is the omnibusing canceled? Because they're being tried together, and they're omnibusing together originally. But then Kayla asked for a continuance, and originally we thought maybe the judge might grant a continuance to both of them so they can continue to be heard together, but that didn't happen. Kayla now has a separate omnibus hearing from Nick. So this might be an indication that Kayla is unhappy with whatever they were planning before. Like, why wait to the very last second to retain your wife's counsel? And if you're going to be, I guess you need a different attorney than White, but it's like, what's the plan here? Why wait? And if it's not like there's problems in heaven or whatever, there's a problem between the relationship, it might be money issues, because this is the other thing that happened, and this is what got him to shower text me. Nick is selling his second home. So his property is quite large, and it contained a 7-acre, 6,600 square foot adjoined property that was like a dug in. You can see it's like dug in. It's weird. I guess because it's Minnesota, it gets so cold. It's like literally dug into the ground. But this house is up for sale, and this is the house, and we can tell that April Anderson Nee Imholt lives here because there's actually a picture of the entryway, and we literally have a picture of April wearing this sweater that's hung up on the curtain rod here. And what's really, really weird about this, by the way, is let's take a look at this picture. Trouble in Paradise. That's what I meant. Not Problems in Heaven. Sorry, you know how my brain works. Let's take a look at this. Computer. Enhance. To the right, computer. Enhance further. Computer. Analyze this footage. Josh, this appears to be all the bottles of alcohol that Rekieta claimed he poured out after his arrest. Thank you, computer. That's exactly what I thought. So he lied to his audience straight to their face and said, we poured out all of our alcohol and I'm living clean now. He literally just took a big, like, bear hugged his entire cabinet of alcohol and duck waddled over to the neighboring house a couple of acres away and dropped this shit on the writing desk in the kitchen. I was like, oh. There we go. And then the CPS arrives at the house and investigates and says, well, I guess he did get rid of all the alcohol. No, he didn't. It's in the next house where April still lives. It's where he goes to bang his hot wife. I wonder why he's pissing hot for alcohol, Chet. Could it be that there's still alcohol in the second home? It would have behooved him to clean this, especially because we're looking at this and, oh, he didn't pick the bathroom pictures. Where are the bathroom pictures at? Give me a second. Hopefully someone's got the bathroom pictures. Those are important. How are you going to post these pictures? Oh, this guy got it. It's $450,000, 7 acres, 660 square feet, by the way. The only problem is the neighbors, and also there might be an issue with the plumbing. A lot of this, by the way, is just talking about one of the things that Rekieta has filed in his omnibus hearing is that he is contesting the quality of evidence by the attorney. This is the actual video that was included as a link, and this is an archive from Backwards Internet, and this is the one that shows his nose. It has like a bit of cocaine on it, but I have both a personal copy of the stream where he has on, and I also have a I have a Kiwi Farms archive of it as well, and it's still live on Odyssey. Like, and it still has the coke nose. So him claiming that the evidence, the probable cause is bad because the stream that he watched is this re-upload. They're literally saying that this is digitally altered to include the coke on his nose. Let me show you the coke on the nose. It's after his break. He takes this little break right here. This is when he does coke. And when he comes back in certain lights, I think right here, you can see it because of the contrast with the mustache better. There's a little speck of cocaine right there. That's not on his nose. Very obviously not on his nose before the break. You know, Camelot said, and I think he walked this back after he said it, I think he was implying that Rekieta was spending upwards of $20,000 a month on cocaine. Isn't that nuts? Sean says that the motion to dismiss that Rekieta filed is embarrassing. I've heard concurring opinions from this, by the way. So imagine this, right? Imagine that your wife is leaving you. Imagine that she demands her own attorney. Imagine that the attorney that she wants is a girl boss from the next door county, Big Stone County. And you have to sell your hot wife's personal 6,600 square foot, 6-bedroom home. And you really don't want that house to sell because your wife is a bitch and f*** her. What would you do in that situation? Would you A, thoroughly clean the home that you're selling so that it sells? Or would you B, put this on the internet knowing that the Kiwi would see it and make fun of you? It's a very tough decision. Do you let that bitch wife pay for her attorney, or do you let the Kiwi laugh? You're in what's called, in chess terminology, in German, a Zugzwang. I think that's how you say that. Zugzwang. A compulsion to move. Neither move benefits you, but you must move. And so you decide that scorning your bitch wife and making sure that house doesn't sell in a timely manner is the appropriate move, because every second that you don't sell it, your hot wife April is next door with the alcohol and you get to bang her. We believe, the bright minds of the Kiwi Farms believe, that what you're looking at is a iron oxide, is rust. And it's either that the well dug on this land is iron water, which means that it oxidizes and will deposit rust into literally everything. Or they have rust, they have iron pipes, and the rust is coming from their plumbing. Neither of those are attractive to buyers. I think the iron pipes are probably the worst option. From what I understand. No, Josh, it's poop. Okay. Das ist schmutzig. Ja. Hard water deposits. It's piss stains. Silent Hill. It does look like Silent Hill. A lot of people said this. Other people have suggested that this is where April does her spray tan, which I mean, you would expect like a silhouette or something. Does April like Donald Trump herself? Is this Donald Trump's restroom where he puts on his spray tan? Is it actually spray tan? Is April doing this? Is this, you gotta be kidding me. April sprays there. There's no way. No way it's on the nozzle of the shower head. Yeah, I think that this is rust. It looks just like rust. There's no... Listen, I've seen pictures of April. She doesn't look like Trump, okay? She's not walking around rust colored. It's not a spray tan booth. That's definitely water from the shower. Okay, chat's trolling me again. Unbelievable. So last second also, by the way, the Nick Rekieta is asking for, and this almost gave me a brain aneurysm. We've discussed Officer Pomplin because Robert Barnes has accused Officer Pomplin of having a personal vendetta against Nick Rekieta which is why he was the one who asked for the warrant. Barnes directly accused him of malfeasance. And then the other person that Rekieta has subpoenaed to testify during the Omnibus hearing is a guy called Robert Bronis. Let me spell this out for you guys on the screen so that my utter confusion upon trying to understand this information can be made clear. Robert Bronis, a sheriff of Candy, Ohio County, not to be confused with Robert Barnes, the person who accused Pomplin of lying to acquire a search warrant. Are we understanding? Pomplin, Bronis, sheriffs. Robert Barnes, shyster. Okay, have we made clear? When I read the Robert Bronis, I'm like, what? Number one, why is he calling Barnes in to testify? Number two, why did he spell his name so wrong? It was very confusing, chat. And I think that's it. Until the battle of Candy, Ohio County Court is settled, we will not know more. Ethan Ralph, poised to strike. A dozen plus Kiwis, gray manning it up, preparing to make a multi-hour-long drive to an obscure south central Minnesota courthouse. Nick Rekieta, probably shower texting me as I speak. I'm assuming that if I check my phone, I have a signal notification. Everybody else laughing. The body cam footage not claimed. Montegraph owed $300. It's like Game of Thrones. Every character here has complex intertwining web of motivations and potential strike points that could ignite at any second. What will happen tomorrow, chat? I don't know. Aaron, by the way, Aaron Imholt, not to be confused with April Anderson Nee Imholt, he violated a court order to not contact his ex-wife, which is the one before April, and he just took a plea deal. So he will pay $135, and he's sentenced to 90 days in jail, but it's stayed. So if he manages not to up for a full year, he will not be going to jail. There might be a mugshot, by the way. I don't know if anyone has the gumption to actually go out and find that mugshot, but it's out there. As part of pleading guilty, Aaron described his violation as on a blogcast I host, I mentioned and criticized the person who had the protection order against me. Said he made jokes which he was not proud of. Stated he was not in the same mindset today as he was then, and the relationship between him and the victim was better than before, and that he had took responsibility for his actions. When he left the court, he thanked the judge. So there he is, our big boy. The man who Nick Rekieta's wife is supposedly madly in love with. Now that is the face of pain. That's just a really unflattering photo. I don't know what's going on there. That's a that's a face of a baldo that's pinching a little bit.